On March 9th, 1992, my son Jeremy died and we donated his organs.
I received a liver transplant on May 2nd, 1996.
On March 7th, 1992, my son Jeremy was skiing at Mount St. Louis Moonstone when he got hit by a skier after he'd fallen and was walking up a slope to retrieve his skis. She was on life support at Sick Kids for 2 days, and on March 9th, 1992, we signed all the papers and he was removed from life support and we donated all of his organs. Everybody was just in such shock, and I had always read articles about organ donations, and for me it was the most natural thing to insist that he be an organ donor, especially given his age at 14. And he had had no illnesses apart from ear infections. And nobody, I don't think it even registered with the rest of the family, my decision. The other children weren't even at the hospital. They were with friends. It was just my husband and some people from the church that were there. So there was no discussion, no arguments, no nothing.
I was diagnosed with liver disease in the fall of 1995, and for the next 8 months I was in and out of hospital, and from about the beginning of 1996 I was pretty much a constant patient at the Toronto General Hospital. Because my liver wasn't flushing out the toxins from my body, my mental capacity diminished, and because I was bedridden and basically wasn't eating and didn't want to eat, I became severely emaciated, losing 30 or 40 pounds. And by the end of April 1996, I was living on borrowed time. I didn't understand just how sick I was, and although obviously I was still in the hospital and not allowed to go home, my family did understand. They had been told by the doctors that I was in pretty bad shape, and that towards the end of April, my life expectancy was being measured in weeks, perhaps, rather than months.
As soon as we got to Sick Kids, we realized how serious his injuries were. It wasn't just a question of a broken leg. They had operated on him and relieved pressure on his brain, but they said there was no chance that he would survive. So I made the decision without consulting with anybody else in the family, because I just assumed they would go along with me, that we would donate his organs. From there, we had to go through the process of at least 2 doctors declaring him brain dead, and that whole process took about 24 hours. Had to sign papers giving permission to remove him from life support, and 2 days later he was removed from life support and they transplanted his organs.
Late the night of May 1st, 1996, the doctor came to my room and said that I should contact my family because a donor organ had become available, and that at 7 o'clock the following morning I'll be going down for surgery. I'm told that surgery took 7 hours, which became a very trying time for my family, and I later learned that my liver was in worse condition than the surgeons had been led to believe, so that I was something of a challenge for them. But I was also later told that within seconds of the new liver, the donor liver, being connected to my system, it began to work. So quite soon the doctors realized that in spite of everything, that part of the surgery had been a success.
They used his corneas and his kidneys and his liver. They were going to use his heart, but the recipient became too unstable on the operating table, so they couldn't use the heart, but they used the valves from the heart.
For the first few months, I'd say the first year after the transplant surgery, I was conscious pretty much all the time that I was living with a donor organ, and that donation had been made by a grieving family at a very stressful and sad time in their lives. And as a result, that here I was continuing with a pretty normal life.
21 years ago, a family donated a liver, and that was a gift of life for our family. 21 years with a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather. That would never have been possible without this very precious gift. And we would like to thank the family.
So I can pursue my professional interests in semi-retirement and also those recreational interests which are part of a fitness program for somebody my age. But it's all possible because a family made that wonderful decision to donate the organs of a loved one. And to them, again, I say thank you.
I would say don't hesitate to donate the organs. It means a little bit of them still lives on in somebody else. And you're doing enormous amount of good is coming out of your tragedy. I wouldn't hesitate doing it again.